Rod, if you're free, I have an extra ticket to the Warriors and Oil Kings game in Moose Jaw tonight, if you want to join me. I would love to, but I can't. To quote Sammy Seafood Sam, I'm busy.
How about that?
Where's Seafood Sam? Moved to Calgary. He's busy.
Yeah.
But thank you, Glenn.
Muna.
Big shots.
Sitting up there with the Russian national coach at the press conference.
Guy ran a seafood restaurant in Saskatoon, okay? His name was Seafood Sam. That was the name of the restaurant. And the Saskatoon Blades would bring him down to coach the All-Star or the intra-squad game, and he'd start brawls. And
I remember Darren, the story about Daryl Lubanicki. They told the guys no more fights. And so all of a sudden there's a fight, and then they drop the puck, and then there's another fight, and there's another.
He's coaching the intra-squad
One
game.
kid had fought 3 times, so Daryl Lubanicki said, I'm going to put an end to this. And he walks around the rink, and he comes over to the kid who's had 3 fights, and he says, what in is going on around here? And the kid says, that Chinese guy keeps sending me out to beat out of that. So he had to go to this Seafood Sam, who was this little 5'2" Chinese fellow who owned the local restaurant.
Seafood Sam's.
And tell him to knock it off.
No more fights.
How about that? Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show. Right now.
Yeah, Rod's not here, so I'm hosting the show.
How about that?
Hey, good morning, or good afternoon, I guess, here on the Eastern time zone up to 12 o'clock. Darren Dupont in here for Rod Pedersen on the RP Show. Rod is traveling to Vegas to the Super Bowl, so we'll sit in. We're going to have a lot of fun for you planned today on the program because yesterday, holy smokes, how do you keep it all straight in the Canadian Football League with all the free agency news? We are going to talk a lot of CFL free agency today, so for the CFL fans around, and we say good morning to everybody watching so far. Rod Monroe, Ryan McCarthy's checked in, David Asplund already. Log in, get your YouTube comments filled up, get the text line comments filled up. Got a couple of those locked and ready to go. So 902-518-3033 is the text line, the number that you can reach us at right here in the studio. Justin Dunk will be with us in hour 1. First couple of segments, then we're going to go to Montreal, check in with Joey Alfieri. The Alouettes in hour 2, we're going to get some great chat with Mo Egger ahead of the Super Bowl in Las Vegas, and Jim Lang will join us as well in hour 2. We'll talk a little hockey, little Leafs. Lots going on last night in the National Hockey League. So let's hit the quick 6 show horn and get down to business. Thank you, Jordan. So just so you know, I'm battling something. I don't know what it is, but I'm battling something. Probably from being back home in the rectangle, calling curling for a collection. I think it was 10 days total with a week in between, 8 days in between. But the Scotties, the women's playdowns in Saskatchewan, the Tankard, the men's playdowns, all totaled around 40 hours on the air. I just hope it's not pneumonia, but you know what? I've hosted a show with worse. Rod's hosted a show being sick, so we got lots of fluids and coffee and lots of great guests, so it's going to be great. Let's start last night in the National Hockey League and the Edmonton Oilers, the Vegas Golden Knights. The streak is over at 16 games. I'm going to pull up my notes here. It was a tough one. There was a great hockey game last night. I stayed up to watch it. Didn't start till 10 o'clock at night here in Toronto. But Chandler Stevenson scored the go-ahead goal. Aiden Hill stopped 30 shots, and the Vegas Golden Knights brought an end to the Oilers' 16-game winning streak. Edmonton was looking to tie those 92-93 Penguins for the longest NHL win streak. I know there are some people who celebrated this, some people who didn't like it, who are disappointed. Obviously, tons of Oiler fans were in Vegas for the game last night. That was such a cool atmosphere. Couple of things that I thought, as I'm watching that game. This is big boy hockey, first of all. Number one. Number two, this is a playoff game in early February, if there ever was one. Vegas dominated the first period. The way they controlled the boards, the time of possession, it was only zip one rush the other way, and it was a Draisaitl McDavid 2-on-0 on the breakaway, shorthanded to score. But then the Oilers turned it around. In the second period and third period, I thought, Edmonton dominated the game. They showed an ability in the offensive zone to just control the puck, control the way the game was going to be played. They were strong on the wall. But at the same time, what makes Vegas a Stanley Cup contender and what made them a champion is they didn't look out of place, even when they were spending all that time in the defensive zone. And the Golden Knights didn't look like they were ever caught running around. They never looked out of position. They knew the Oilers were going to come at them, so they let them, and they did their thing. And then ultimately, when they got the chance to score, they did that. But the block shots, the hits, the referees put the whistles away. There wasn't a lot of power plays or little chintzy penalty calls. Some stuff they got away with. Other things, they didn't call. So I just thought it was a really good game. You got good goaltending, and in the end, the streak came to an end. We thought if it was going to come to an end, it was going to be last night. So I ask you, what are your thoughts on the Oilers streak coming to an end? As we get some good mornings coming in. Wayne Grollo's watching in Victoria, says good morning, Rod Squad from Victoria, BC. David Asplund says, got to check out a Sea Bears game. Bill Edwards watching, says good morning all. Jeffrey is watching as well. Everybody's checking into the chat, so that is good. Ron Thompson on the text line. This is a late text that came in yesterday after the show. He said, excited to see some new Flames tonight against the Bruins. Well, excited to see some Flames. Andrei Kuzmenko has scored in his Calgary debut. Nazem Kadri had 3 assists, and the Flames beat the Boston Bruins. Jonathan Huberdeau, one of his best games as a Flame. Goal and 2 assists, and Connor Zary also scored. Flames beat the Bruins 4-1, so Kuzmenko off to a good start for the Calgary Flames in his debut, scoring pretty early into that one. And over between the Canucks and the Hurricanes, Elias Lindholm made a statement in his debut, scoring a pair of power play goals to give him 11 on the season. The win locked up Vancouver's 5th in their last 6 games, 3-2 over the Hurricanes. The only debut that wasn't really so hot was Sean Monahan. Chris Letang opened the scoring, and the Penguins capitalized with a pair of power play goals in the second period to blank the Jets. Brendan Dillon was assessed a match penalty for a hit on Noah Cherry, which gave the Penguins the 5-minute power play. That's a tough one for the Jets last night, taking it on the chin to the Penguins 3-0. We'll get into the Brendan Dillon situation because he is likely to hear from Department of Player Safety, the discipline committee. Likely going to be suspended. We may even hear about it during the show. So we'll keep an eye close on that one. Does he deserve to be suspended for the hit? Probably. He was assessed a match penalty for the illegal check to the head on Nola Cherry. We saw the hit. Didn't like it. It wasn't dirty, so I don't think it's going to be a big suspension. But, Cherry was in a tough spot. Dillon had lined him up. Probably could have avoided making principal contact with the head. So for those reasons, he's going to hear and going to get suspended a game or two. The fact that he had a match penalty on the play, and the 5-minute penalty was big. So he already served a big chunk of this. The Jets were already penalized. So supplemental, a game or two is what I would guess. On the flip side, Calgary Flames forward Martin Pospisil will not face further discipline for cross-checking Boston Bruins forward Brad Marchand. That was from Eric Francis reporting that on Sportsnet earlier on today. Pospisil was assessed a major penalty and a game misconduct. But again, I think that was enough, so he's not going to get any supplemental discipline there. We're going to get Justin Duncan here in a second. I know lots of comments coming in as we check in on the YouTube chat. Yeah, Patrolman Pete says, a sad performance by the Jets. Yeah, it was last night. Boston, Winnipeg, Florida, Edmonton, and Toronto all lost coming off the break. That's from Brent Waltman. Hey, it's a good thing to point out. Coming off the break, you get a little bit of a letdown, especially in Edmonton. Where you had the 16-game win streak snapped. I know that wasn't part of the game plan. There is lots of talk about the CFL patient. We will get to that for sure as we roll this morning. Again, Justin Dunk's going to hopefully be with us. If not this segment, maybe we'll get him in for the next segment. Oh, he's ready to go? Okay. Let's bring in Justin Dunk from 3 Down Nation. Been busy guy. Justin, how are you, my buddy?
Doing well. Patient for you, dude. I've been waiting through this hockey talk, which I understand has to come first. But what's going on in the CFL, my man?
Yeah, well, let's get into it because that's our poll question today. And I'll just ask you right off the hop. Our poll question is for Key Auto Group. Who's winning CFL free agency, or more specifically, the negotiation period? There's a lot of candidates out there. A lot of viewers of this show might think it's the Saskatchewan Roughriders, deservedly so. But who do you have winning the CFL free agent window so far?
You know, I'll take this one a bit of a different way and probably won't go with any of your choices in this actual answer box, so to speak. But, I think back to last year, everybody, except for Cody Fajardo and a couple other pieces, were leaving the Montreal Alouettes. Everybody had them last in the power rankings. They had no chance. They were going to be the worst team in the CFL, buddy. But then what happened? They won the Grey Cup. So I think in actuality, what CFL free agency has become is a way to add pieces here or there, ideally retain your pieces like what the Blue Bombers have done with at least a couple of big name players in terms of Canadian running back Brady Oliveira and all-star receiver Dalton Schoen. But when you talk about teams who have won free agency, like how many times in the recent past, since we've been in this profession, have we seen the team that wins free agency gone on to win the Grey Cup? It's about culture. It's about player development. It's about scouting and retaining those players that can lead you to the promised land. So I'm not going to answer the question. I'll put out there, I guess I'm saying either.
Yeah. Well, no, and that's a good point because culture and stuff matters so much more. And we're coming up to NHL trade deadline here in a number of weeks, and it's the same thing, right? Making moves and making a splash here and there doesn't necessarily create culture, but it does seem, if we want to talk about Saskatchewan for a second, that Corey Mace is building something that maybe some players want to go to Saskatchewan again. And is that what we're seeing around the league?
I think there's definitely a renewed energy there with what they're doing in Saskatchewan. Mace, obviously, and Trevor Harris being healthy and him giving them a little bit of cap room to work with, I certainly think helped this situation. And they go out and get him a premier running back in the prime of his career in AJ Ouellette. He painted his Thor hammer green. He's ready to rock out there in Riderville. I think the fans are absolutely going to love this guy. And there was a relationship there between Ouellette and Mace from their time together with the Toronto Argonauts. And Ouellette is familiar with that stadium and likes playing there. He scored 2 touchdowns in the Argonauts Grey Cup win there over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in the 109th edition. So I really like that signing. Some people might say, well, you maybe shouldn't be spending on running backs, but Jamal Morrow wasn't a guy that was kind of doing these kind of things that Ouellette can do. He runs with power, so physical, ultra athletic. He was tied for the CFL lead in 20-plus yard runs last year with 10 of those. And then you look at the defensive side of the ball, he goes out and gets Jameer Thurman, who's a guy that he spent time with in Calgary, together in that defense with the Stampeders to lead his defense, as we've just reported at 3downnation.com. The team has also agreed to terms with Canadian linebacker Adam O'Clair. I think he'll have an opportunity to start at that weak side or will linebacker spot. And they have been active. They were in on Jamal Peters, but didn't necessarily want to pay that price tag that it would take to get him. I think they did have some interest on Brandon Barlow, but he got around $200,000 on his agreement with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. So the Saskatchewan Roughriders are spending their money selectively, and I would say at this point, smartly.
Well, that's, yeah. Speaking of money, one of the lead stories that, you kind of talked about was Brady Oliveira and the money left on the table. But for Winnipeg to lock up Dalton Schoen and Brady Oliveira, there's a lot of Winnipeg viewers in our chat right now that are pretty happy and think, hey, it's a minor miracle. They got both those guys back, and they feel like because of that, Winnipeg's winning free agency, and they should be pretty excited.
Definitely. Now, the guy that I left out, talking about the Roughriders, that was the jewel of their free agent class, was Jamarcus Hardrick, the offensive tackle. They paid to get him to leave Winnipeg $230,000, $120,000 just to sign that contract, which could be the biggest signing bonus as we go along here in free agency. Matthew Betts might have a chance to beat it. Perhaps Tim White. Will have to monitor that situation in the race for the biggest signing bonus. But Hardrick was a big loss for the Blue Bombers, but that move allowed them to have the financial flexibility under the salary cap to sign Canadian running back Brady Oliveira, for $230,000 in 2024 and $240,000 in 2025, and re-sign Dalton Schoen for a similar range of money. I believe it's around $230,000 in 2024. So if you're a Winnipeg Blue Bombers fan, what would you rather have? A premier offensive tackle to protect Zach Collaros, or two-star offensive players, a guy in Schoen that Collaros often looks to in the end zone, yes, but especially in those critical second down situations. And Oliveira, who had one of the best running backs ever, I don't care about his passport, for a season in CFL history, and arguably one of the best closers, if not the best closer, I think, right now in the CFL in terms of closing out football games, which the Blue Bombers are leading.
Yeah, really important. Really, really important. Look, I'm going to ask you after the break about your favorite signings, which ones you like the most, and guys you're really excited about in new spots. And we're going to talk NFL and the Super Bowl coming up after the break. So hang tight. We'll take a quick timeout, and we'll come back and we'll talk more CFL free agency. We'll also scan the chat and pull out your questions for Dunk as well. There's a lot of them coming in here. So here on the text line too. So stay tuned. We'll get to all those with Justin here after a quick timeout here on YouTube Live, Game Plus TV, and we're also available wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple and Spotify.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
Did you know that you can help save a life? and you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
With Rod on his way to Vegas, he's leaving the sunshine in Florida. So Darren Dupont with you here. Justin Dunk is alongside, and we roll on through hour one here in the program. Get your questions in. Lots of text rolling in, too. We'll get to those here in a little bit. But Patrolman Pete in Winnipeg, as we pick up where we left off, says, I'd be curious to know Justin's thoughts on the Bomber O-line now that Hardrick is gone and the big free agent dollars have been spent. I know we touched on it a bit, but where are they at with their offensive line, and what's the outlook ahead of the season?
That right tackle spot is going to be something that they're going to have to figure out as they go here. Drew Richmond has retired. That was a guy who was on a rookie contract that they had been developing. He wanted more money if he was going to step up and be the starter, and rightfully so, but you kind of got to prove it as well. So he decides to move on from professional football. One guy that I think could potentially be a fit from an experience standpoint is Trayvon Tate. He played left tackle for the Argos last year for 10 games, obviously protecting the blind side of Chad Kelly. Still in his late 20s, I think has some upside. I would imagine as this process goes along that could be one of the ideas that's bandied about in the Winnipeg front office there. And if they're not going to go that route, there's not really many other proven veteran American tackles on the market. So perhaps they think about going Canadian at that right tackle spot, or they go through the scouting and draft process and try to identify a couple of players that can compete to start at that position vacated by Hardrick going to Saskatchewan.
Yeah, something we'll be following, and I know Winnipeg fans will be following as well quite a bit. So I want to get this a little more, and we kind of talked just brief, or kind of glazed over it, but David in Winnipeg says he just saw Dunk's tweet saying Brady turned down $770,000 and $550,000. That's wild with the fire emoji. So explain that, because those are big numbers in the CFL.
It was pretty wild. The Hamilton Tiger Cats came fast and furious at Brady Oliveira when the negotiating window, or what do we want to call it? Legal tampering window, I think is probably more apt to call it. Yeah. When it actually came open, Oliveira talked to CEO Scott Mitchell, general manager Ed Hervey, head coach Scott Milanovic, and they presented him and his agent with an offer for $275,000 a year, all in what the CFL would term hard money. It's not quite guaranteed money, but if you're going to be on the roster, even if you get hurt, you're probably going to earn that money. So $275,000 per year on a 2-year contract. Now, that made Brady at least think a little bit. And then the BC Lions came to the table and presented an offer worth $770,000 over 3 years, sort of stepping up from $250,000. I think it was 256 and 262 approximately through those 3 years. And Oliveira's camp felt like there could have been room for negotiation there based on Hamilton's offer to push that even higher, over 800,000 through those 3 years. The Lions were kind of trying to hit him in the feels. His girlfriend, Alex Blumberg, is from out in the West Coast. Her family is still there, so there was some thought to that. But when it was all said and done, Oliveira wanted to be in Winnipeg. He felt like he had some unfinished business, so he takes a contract worth $470,000 over 2 years, $230 and $240, and then also has the chance to make off-field money there in Winnipeg. He's a hometown boy, so I think there's going to be some decent cash to be made there off the field, but he definitely took a hometown discount to stay in Winnipeg, proving that it wasn't all about the money for Oliveira.
Wild. Yeah, I can only imagine, how that situation went down, and be tough, when you're looking at all that money, and especially when you're looking at your partner being from there too. But here's something that came out today from the National Post I thought was really interesting, and I wanted to see if this has any relevance to the CFL. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But it goes back to hockey. Maple Leafs captain John Tavares fighting with the Canada Revenue Agency. I don't know if you saw this. Over $8 million, an $8 million tax bill that JT has to pay. Tavares says he should owe 15% on the $15.3 million signing bonus he received when he signed with the Leafs just under 6 years ago. The CRA says the bonus should be taxed at 38%. Now, there is a clause in the tax, lower tax rate. There's a line in there for inducements, bonuses paid to athletes, actors, artists, musicians, that should have them taxed at a lower rate for those things, like a signing bonus, 15%. CRA thinks it should be 38%. And now there's a lot of talk about this decision could have a big impact over future free agents deciding to sign in Canada. Could this be something that has any spill-off effect to the Canadian Football League when we think about players signing in the CFL versus the USFL or the UFL?
That could be massive. And, man, does the CRA not already get enough money? Like, really? And they're going to stop these professional athletes potentially wanting to come and play in Canada? Maybe not so much for the CFL, but the NHL and the NBA and the MLB. Like, what are we talking about here? Come on, man. We're taxed enough as it is. I don't want to get too political with it, but that could have an effect, especially on Canadian CFL players. Right now in the CFL, if you're an American and you get a signing bonus, you are taxed at a lower rate. That's why you see a lot of Americans redoing their deals. Trevor Harris is a perfect example of this, for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, turned his roster bonus into a signing bonus and redid his contract for 2024 because he ultimately nets more money after taxes and gives the Riders some cap release. That is not the case, though, for Canadian players in the CFL. So I think that this situation you're describing with John Tavares, Johnny T, could have an impact that trickles down to the CFL.
Interesting. It'll be something worth following as he goes through that in a battle with the CRA. And I know you get the other side that says, well, it's millionaires fighting over millions, boo-hoo, and, not a real problem. But it is. It could affect
his
your
money,
sports
man.
teams.
Nobody wants to give money away,
It affects how much, how much your tickets cost, all the rest of it. So it's something worth following for sure. Okay, so before we close the book on the CFL, so far, your favorite signing? Or what's been kind of your favorite move so far?
Oh, dude, there's been so many things that have happened. I'm trying to keep everything straight. But to be quite honest, the one that I was most excited about and wanted to report and did report was AJ Ouellette going to the Rough Riders. I just feel like it's such a perfect fit. He's kind of from this small town in Ohio, has grinded his way through the CFL ranks, and is this guy that looks like a superhero, Thor, or whatever else you want to call him. I just think it's such a perfect culture fit for him to go to Regina. And then also as a player in the locker room with Corey Mace, helping be part of that transition, the leadership group potentially there, in installing the kind of culture that Corey Mace wants. So I think that Ouellette was my favorite one for that reason. But there's so much that has gone on that my answer, might change in a week or two here once I've digested it all. But right now, Ouellette's the front runner.
I love it. Yeah, and the green Thor hammers. What a great, marketing fit. He fits. I think it's going to be fun. And you just see with so much that's happened in that province, the culture shifting, and we're seeing the needle move on the culture meter, and that can't be anything but good. I know they're excited in Saskatchewan. Okay, I don't know how much you've even been thinking about the Super Bowl, because you've been breaking all the news in the Canadian Football League and this negotiation period. But how much are you following Super Bowl? How much do you wish you were in Vegas? And what's got your attention so far?
Man, I wish I was in Vegas. There were some plans to be there, but broke my wrist, dude. I'm healing from it anyways. Bigger, better things in the future. But I've been following Super Bowl for sure, and I think to have a neat tie-in here on both sides, Brock Purdy was once on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers negotiation list, and him being Mr. Irrelevant, the last pick in the NFL draft in his year, there was probably a thought that maybe one day he would end up in the CFL, and you wonder how good he could have been up here. But obviously now he's starring for the San Francisco 49ers. And on the other side, Patrick Mahomes, too, at one time was on a CFL negotiation list as well. I believe it was the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I would have to double check some of my notes. So that's intriguing. And then, of course, you have the tie-in Zach Collaros, somewhat jokingly, one of the new friends of Taylor Swift. He was college roommates with Travis Kelce. Collaros doesn't seem like he wants to say much about it publicly, but then there was Kelce on Super Bowl media night there talking about his boy Zip. That's his nickname for him. And then I asked Collaros about it. He actually explained how the nickname came to be, and it was because I think he had a cousin that played for the Akron Zips, and he was always wearing their gear. So Kelce called him Zip, and I guess that stuck for a while now. Some unique CFL kind of tie-ins there.
Well, it's pretty good. Like I just pulled up Bet Regal's all the Super Bowl bets, and 49ers still favored by 2 going into the game. But I flipped over to the prop bets, and there's this special Super Bowl / Grammy specials. And you know who's at the top of that with T Swift. So I scroll down here, and this is an interesting one that you can bet on. T Swift, first person shown next to in the Super Bowl. So who she's sitting next to, or who she's standing next to. At the top of that list is Brittany Mahomes at plus 100. Donna Kelce is there, Jason Kelce. Ed Kelce. Keep scrolling down. Plus 3,300 is Mike Tyson. I don't know how he made the list, but Mike Tyson may be in the booth. I'm not seeing Zach Collaros on here as a betting option, but should we be taking a flyer that she might be next to Zach Collaros?
I don't think that is going to be the case, but how are they describing next to? Like, they have to be right beside her? What if they're behind her? Because we've seen so many shots this season when she's at the Chiefs games in these fancy suites with Brittany Mahomes right beside her, or Donna Kelce, right beside her, or Jason Kelce. Is Jason Kelce on that list? How's he not on that list?
Oh, yeah, Jason Kelce's plus 500. He's the third highest odds on that list.
I'd love to see the Chiefs win the Super Bowl and a shirtless Jason Kelce just gives a big old bear hug to T Swift on the field. Those images, I know she goes viral for whatever she does anyways, but would be amazing to see.
Oh my gosh. And I keep scrolling down. There's bets now. Will Swift mention the Chiefs and Kelce at her last Tokyo show before the Super Bowl? Yes, no. And the disclaimers on the bottom of this are pretty good too. Management decision is final. If it's void, if Taylor Swift does not attend the Super Bowl, from kickoff to the final whistle, halftime and commercials don't count. CBS broadcast only. So it is going to be a lot of fun, and I think there's going to be a lot of money. How about this? Taylor Swift, primary color of her top coming off the plane. Not even in the stadium. It's pretty nuts. Pretty nuts. So Patrick Mahomes, 4th Super Bowl, 28 years old. All the comparisons to Tom Brady. Where are you putting Patrick Mahomes in terms of legacy and his place in history at this point in his career?
At this point, you would have to say he's a surefire Hall of Famer. And if he continues on his current trajectory, he's going to be right there with Tom Brady as arguably the greatest of all time. Now, he's going to have to get the amount of rings that Brady has, and that's going to be difficult to continue to do with the pace that he's been playing at. But I do think that it's a possibility. Like, look at how this Chiefs season has played out. I don't think there would be a lot of people that felt like the Chiefs would have made the Super Bowl, but they figured it out and arguably played their best offensive football in the playoffs to get to this Super Bowl for Patrick Mahomes. The guy is just a winner. And think of the quarterbacks in the AFC, my man, that he's had to go through and consistently beat all of these years to get to his 4th Super Bowl. Of course, he lost to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl and has lost to Tom Brady in the playoffs. But other than one game against Joe Burrow, this guy has owned the AFC and has been so dynamic in these situations that are pressure-packed. And he makes it look so easy. But people, it's not that easy to run around from these big guys and continue to make plays and take the hits that he does. It's unbelievable what he's doing. And I do think he has the chance. It's going to take a lot to win more than Brady, but that is a long way down this road.
You got it. I mean, he's doing everything that he can, and he has a Hall of Fame career already, but that was always the Tom Brady book. Brady had a Hall of Fame career, a little break, and then another Hall of Fame career. So Mahomes will have to do that second act, I think, to match Tom, right?
Definitely. And I think he's kind of just like continuing, which gives him the chance maybe to win more than Brady. But that middle part that you're talking about there, that kind of lull where he didn't win a Super Bowl for a while, even though he was in one and the Giants upset them a couple times, shows you that it's difficult. It's not easy. But then people just start to expect that you're going to be there every single year. But it's not that easy. And we're talking about inches, sometimes defining legacies. To me, that's something that is so interesting, right? You look at the San Francisco 49ers. If Brandon Ayuk doesn't make a crazy catch that ricochets around against the Detroit Lions, you could argue they're probably not in the Super Bowl. So these small things that Mahomes had go his way or helped go his way has helped the Chiefs get here. Obviously, it's a great team, very young defense. I like what Steve Spagnuolo has done with that unit, coaching those guys up. But to get here, I think you do have to have some things go your way along with being really good.
It'll be fun to watch, no doubt. Man, time goes by fast, but I appreciate it, man, and we'll catch up soon.
Yeah, buddy. See you, dude.
Follow 3 Down and Justin Dunk. They're breaking all the news on CFL. Free agency in this negotiation window period. Lots coming down, including more today. Matthew Schultz agreeing to terms with Calgary Stampeders. Justin mentioned Adam O'Clair to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Mason Bennett re-signing with the Ticats. Kobe Williams re-signing in Calgary. Lots going on. 3downnation.com for that. We'll be back with more. We go to Montreal next, and we'll talk about the Alouettes. Justin alluded to them, talked about their situation and culture, and we'll go there with Joey Alfieri on the other side of the break. It's the Rod Pedersen Show here on a Wednesday on Game Plus TV. We're on YouTube Live and wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple and Spotify.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the City of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameday.com.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
All right, welcome back to the RP Show. We check in on some of the comments on YouTube. The text line is loaded up, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. 902-518-3033. They love the story about Zach Collaros, yes, and the Kelsey brothers. Love that. Also talking about some of the CFL free agency stuff. Some players. Jeff the Stamps fan, I think you're being a fly in the ointment today, and it's okay. I like it. Says offensive tackle any day of the week that he would rather have over the running back and the receiver. Thinks that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers took a real hit losing Jamarcus Hardrick to the Riders, but they did re-sign Brady Oliveira and Dalton Schoen, and I don't know. I like it. I think you need to have your weapons. I think really, really important there to have those weapons. Look, one team that is kind of flying, I would think they're flying under the radar. That's the Montreal Alouettes. We welcome in Joey Alfieri, the defending Grey Cup champions. And would you say the Als are flying under the radar? Because all we're hearing about is the Argonauts are losing everybody on their team, and Winnipeg's having trouble re-signing and losing their starting right tackle. I know William Stanback is gone, but how are things in Montreal, my man?
Things are good, man. It's, living the dream out here. The defending champs, they haven't been able to say that in a while around here. Look, I think flying under the radar, back-to-back free agency periods, that's okay. It's fine. You can't really manufacture news. If other teams are signing or agreeing to terms with players, that's all good. But I think, what the Als proved last year, their championship recipe was adding CFL free agents on the first day of free agency, but the second and third day as well. And going out there and getting those CFL rookies, I had the air quotes because they're guys with some NFL experience, but guys who are new to the CFL, and you find the right guys and you can win a championship that way. And they're a lot more cap friendly than going out and spending big money on Feb 13th. I think last year was Feb 14th. So this is the recipe that clearly that they've gone with. And I think, if it's quiet on the Montreal front, I think it's by design. I think they really believed that they preferred to keep their own guys, and that's what they did. So keeping Mustafa Johnson and keeping Sean Lemon and Darnell Sankey and Tyrese Beverett, that's where they put their priority. And when you look at the end result in 2023, it's kind of hard to argue with that.
It really is. I think a lot of teams sit here, if you're Toronto and you think, how are we not re-signing our guys? Or if you're a team that's not spending a boatload of money. I mean, it's easy. And then you can understand why they're excited in Saskatchewan. And now in Winnipeg, when you get Brady Oliveira and Dalton Schoen re-signed. But as Justin mentioned earlier this hour, sometimes in the league, you can get kind of blinded by the shiny new toy. But really, as the Owls showed last year, you win with culture. And the culture in Montreal, seems to be at an all-time high.
Yeah, and it is, and I think people around here have dubbed that Grey Cup win as a culture win. Like it's not like things were horrendous where they were before, but you could just tell that there's been a shift in attitude, and I guess at this time last year, fans were worried about the amount of people and the quality of the player that was going out the door. And it's no slam on the players that left. I mean, there was a lot of uncertainty around here. So I don't think anybody blames anyone for walking out the door. But when you do get that restart and that refresh on the roster, you can kind of mold things and you can mold that culture differently because there's just so many new guys that you can shape it kind of however you like. And sometimes it works the way you shape it. Sometimes it doesn't. In this case, it worked. But it's just, I think you look at some of the key guys that they've brought in. You think of Reggie Stubblefield, who was great. Kebion Ento could have very well been a Grey Cup MVP with the way that he played. Austin Mack and Tyler Snead. I mean, those are all guys that were new to the CFL that at some point went through growing pains. But at this time last year, CFL fans did not know who those guys were. So, winning the Grey Cup on February 14th is fantastic. You want to come out as a winner or a loser on those days, it's all good. But at the end of the day, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, those things, you do your talking on the field. And so it's great. A lot of teams have made some really sharp moves, some less so, but, it's all going to play out during the season. And I think it's hard in the CFL just because you do go out there and you do have guys that you've never seen in the league before. You don't know how they're going to respond to this style of football, but those guys could emerge as superstars. And that's what you saw in Montreal last year. But I think, Jason Moss really helped set the tone culture, from a culture standpoint was, what you're getting at. And I think there's no doubt about it that a new culture has been built. And these guys are confident, man. They haven't lost since September the 15th. That's a long time to go without a loss. So the culture shift, it definitely worked.
That is a long time without a loss for sure. Anything surprise you from what we've seen so far in the free agency period?
I'm trying to think. Nothing really surprised me. I know people are flipping out over the Argos, and so I think the Argos are going to be fine. This is just what happens when the quarterback goes from making X amount to being the highest paid player in the league. But I think that the Argos have shown that they were able to build what they've built over the last couple of years is fine. I think they're going to be fine. I know people in Toronto are worried, but I think they'll be okay. Surprising, maybe that Winnipeg was able to keep the two guys you mentioned. You hear so many reports and rumors from insiders that you're like, you know what? For me, it was always hard to envision Oliveira leaving Winnipeg. I mean, he's the Manitoba boy and whatnot, but you hear things and you're like, oh, okay, maybe not. But the fact that the cap person in Winnipeg deserves a raise, a tip of the cap, because they've got Caleros making whatever he's making. Lawler's almost at 300 apparently. They signed Oliveira, they signed Schoen. That's five guys. Jefferson re-signed before free agency. I don't know how they do it out there, but credit to them because definitely those amounts are they're adding up quick, and they found a way to keep those two guys yesterday. So that was maybe the mild surprise, but I think it's kind of gone the way most people had anticipated.
We are seeing the Owls, though, tied to potentially Matthew Betts, the BC Lions and Defensive Player of the Year, the defensive end who has yet to sign or agree to terms. Matthew Betts would be a big add to a defending Grey Cup champion.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you look at that position, that could be a position of need as well. If you're just looking at the depth chart on paper with Lowell Ugwak heading to the NFL, heading to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, with Betts, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. I don't know if they're in or not. I'm going off the reports that everyone has as well. But I mean, obviously, there's a natural fit there. A really good player, plus a guy from the province of Quebec. He's a Quebecer, a francophone guy. So I mean, people in this city, in this province, are rooting for it to happen. We'll see between now and Tuesday when free agency opens where it goes. But I can understand the link there. I think that a defensive end, a Canadian defensive end, would make a lot of sense. But whether or not, again, it comes back to. And I have this discussion over Twitter all the time with fans. It's like, yeah, okay, this is what you want to do, but are you willing? Were you willing to lose a Lemon or a Mustafa Johnson or all the guys, the Sankeys and the Bevrets, all those guys we talked about before? Were you willing to lose any of those guys? No. Well, that takes up a lot of cap space. If you look at the teams that have signed free agents, a lot of those teams are losing free agents as well. Whereas Montreal's brought back, a lot of their starters as of right now. Ugwak, Mack, and I think Stanback are the starters that won't be back. But there's continuity, and I think there's a value that comes with continuity. So can it work? We'll see. Obviously, you never want to rule it out, but you don't know. But obviously, from a standpoint of a French Canadian player coming to the province, you root for it. But there's a lot more that goes into it than just that.
So lastly, the two-part here. They're asking how ticket sales are going in Montreal, obviously coming off a championship. And secondly, are you going to be playing in the Big O when they redo the roof? Or are we potentially looking at a Grey Cup coming back to Montreal? Yeah. The $800 million going into the new roof at the Big O.
I mean, man, that's a question probably for somebody. That question's above my pay grade. Both of those questions are above my pay grade. There's been a lot of discussion about the stadium and the renovation that's going to be underway here. But I mean, man, that's so far down the line. It's like, I think it'll be completed by 27 or 28. And we're in the Olympic Stadium every day. Like our main offices are in the Olympic Stadium. So the players train out of Olympic Stadium during the off season. The main locker room is at Olympic Stadium. Football ops are here. Marketing obviously is here as well. Tickets, like everything's here. Everything's been centralized here. But this place is so big, like you don't even see that there's renovations going on or starting or anything like that. This place is huge. Ticket sales, I know that there was an article that came out last week in one of the French language newspapers here that says that they're up, I think, 31%, if I remember correctly. And then whether or not, the Alouettes come and play at Olympic Stadium, that's before my time. I remember in the Mark Trestman days, and even before then, they used to do, I think it was just Fan Appreciation Day. The last game of the regular season used to be here, and they used to put 40, 50, 60,000 people for what was usually a meaningless game because they'd already wrapped up the East Division by then. So we'll see. I mean, it's so far down the line. We'll see what ends up happening. I'm a big fan of Molson Stadium, but I've also had a lot of memories at Olympic Stadium as well with the Alouettes. So it'll be fascinating to see, but I don't think they're there yet. I don't think they've even begun, exploring that. There's so much time that has to go on between now and then that I guess they'll revisit that when the project is closer to completion.
Yeah, and if it's not till 2027, we're a little ahead of the game here. Joey, I appreciate the time, man, and I hope the off season's been great and continues to be good for you.
Thanks, buddy. I enjoyed this so much. I'm not doing it again when Rod Pedersen's on. I'm only coming on when you're on.
How about that?
Deal.
Spicy.
Deal. Oh, write that down, Clark. Write that down. Joey Alfieri, the Alouettes. Take care. Our guest here on the video chat. Yes, lots of comments rolling in. They love Matthew Betts potentially in Montreal. Ryan McCarthy says that would be huge on the YouTube chat. Look, we got to roll. We'll be right back for a quick little wrap on hour one, and then we're going to shift gears into hour two. RP Show here on Game Plus TV, YouTube, and Apple and Spotify.
This is it. It all comes down to this rock. The hours in the gym, the weeks away from my family. This is what I've been training for. And all those voices trying to tear me down, I'm here to silence them. We've given everything we have for a chance to get everything we want.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Telemiracle 50/50, another way to support Telemiracle and have a chance to win half the jackpot. It's a win-win for Saskatchewan residents. Get your tickets now. Telemiracle5050.com. I think when we looked yesterday, that jackpot was rising close to $70,000, $66,900. That's an end for hour one. We're going to get into Super Bowl. We're going to look ahead tonight in the National Hockey League. A whole lot more CFL news probably going to be dropped throughout the day. We're keeping an eye on it. That's all we got. Hour two next.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Right now.
Yeah, Rod's not here, so I'm hosting the show.
How about that?
Yeah, Rod's on his way to Vegas for the Super Bowl. Chiefs and 49ers Sunday from Allegiant Stadium. So Darren Dupont in here for the show today. Battling a little something. I hope it's not pneumonia. But we got something going on, but we're going to power through here. On hour 2 of the program. Big thanks to Justin Dunk, Joey Alfieri joining us in hour 1. If you missed that, you can rewind on YouTube, go back to episode 1 of the podcast, or catch the replay a little bit later on today on Game Plus. Unless you're already watching the replay, then this is not going to make any sense to you. But that's okay. Big CFL news as we roll through the free agency window. The negotiation window has opened. Lots of news coming down yesterday, which we got to a lot of that in hour 1. In the National Hockey League, the Edmonton Oilers' 16-game winning streak snapped last night at the hands of the Vegas Golden Knights. So they won't match the 91-92 Pittsburgh Penguins for their league record 17th straight win. The Oilers will come just one short, and they'll forever be even with the Columbus Blue Jackets in that record book. But they fall 3-1 to the Golden Knights and now start again. Clark, no news on the Brendan Dillon potential suspension out of Winnipeg. No, I haven't seen that either. The hit on Noel Cherry, we're expecting a suspension to come down. Again, as I mentioned last hour, I think a game or two. And for the Flames, Martin Pospisil, no hearing on his cross-check on Brad Marchand. But how about this? Yeah, Oilers lose, but the Canucks win, and a big debut for Elias Lindholm with a couple of goals. And the Flames knock off the Boston Bruins 4-1, and Andrei Kuzmenko scored in his debut. And Jonathan Huberdeau looked like an NHL All-Star last night. And Kadri after the game says a pack of hyenas can take down a lion. And maybe that's going to be the new nickname for the Flames in this back half of the season, the post-All-Star break. Maybe those Flames are going to be the pack of hyenas and go on a run. Somebody sarcastically pointing out that the Flames have the longest NHL streak currently in Alberta now at 2 wins in a row. The poll question, let's update that, and then we're going to go out on the video chat line. Our poll question is for Key Auto Group. The Key Auto Group you can buy with confidence, knowing that they provide reports on all vehicles they sell. Get fully informed about your next vehicle going to keyautogroup.ca. And it is who is winning free agency. What do we got on the poll? It's Riders, Elks, Ticats, or other. And looks like Rough Riders are leading on YouTube. 53% of the vote, other, coming in second place at 32%. So get your votes in now, YouTube, Twitter, and at rodpeterson.com. Okay, let's go out on the video chat line and bring in Mo Egger of ESPN 1530 Cincinnati. How are you, Mo?
You don't get to go to Vegas?
I don't get to go to Vegas. You don't get to go to Vegas?
No, but, nobody I work with is going to Vegas. So the guy you're on with is going to Vegas. You don't get to go?
I know.
Huh.
We have to have a meeting, and I don't think we're going to make that same mistake. I think we're going to New Orleans next year.
All right, well, hopefully I'm there too. I might be there in a non-working capacity. If the Bengals are there, I think I'll be there. If the Bengals aren't there, I might just go because I love New Orleans.
Yeah. Not a Vegas guy?
The last time I went to Vegas was 2016 or 17, and I went with a buddy of mine before a longer trip to spring training. We were there for a night. We're having a cigar, and I looked at him and I said, I think I'm over Vegas. I've been 9 or 10 times, sometimes for work, usually for pleasure. It's fine. I'm not going to say no. I wish I was there this week because that means the Bengals would be there, but I don't know. There's a part of me like, anything I want to do in Vegas, I can now do almost anywhere, right? I got a casino 10 minutes from my house. So, I don't know.
That's it. I was going to say, you strike me as a Vegas guy, but then when you say you've gone 9 or 10 times, that's about how many times you can go to experience. Like, I feel like you can go to Vegas 9 times and have 9 different experiences. There's the food, the shopping, the gambling, the entertainment, all these different things you can do. You can leave Vegas, go to the Grand Canyon. But I think 9 or 10 times is about it, right?
Yes. And again, like if you said to me, Mo, we're going to Vegas, I wouldn't say no, but I don't have the desire to go that I used to. Like there are, I either want to go to places I like more, like New Orleans, or places I haven't been. And, again, back in the day, there were a lot of things I can do in Vegas that I couldn't do anywhere else. Now, also being married has something to do with it. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that might.
So, single guy trip to Vegas was fun. But yeah, I mean, I watch it from afar and I wish I was there because I'm so taken aback by how the NFL for years stiff-armed Vegas. And now not only do they have a team in Vegas, but the signature event in all of American sports, at least, is now being staged in Vegas. And it's opened its arms up to the the whole gambling thing and the whole Vegas thing, which I find funny.
How it really has. And you're right. That's the thing about traveling now is we want everything everywhere, and we should all have it in our backyard. So, all of the food options, they're all available in your city or most major cities.
Sure.
All of the entertainment options. The casinos now are Vegas-style casinos and all the rest, that it's becoming less and less special to travel.
Yeah, it's also like, as much as everybody talks about the Strip, it's not the easiest place to get from place to place. It just, for me at least, it isn't. So, like, I can walk up and down Bourbon Street in New Orleans, hopefully next year, and go from spot to spot to spot, and it's pretty easy. Vegas is a little bit different. There are places in Vegas I like. I mean, I had, and I can't remember the name of the restaurant, but 6-7 years ago, one of the best meals I've ever had, I had in Las Vegas. One of my favorite places to smoke a cigar is the Fuente Cigar Lounge in the Forum Shops in Caesars. They make the best mojito I've ever had. So if you're watching this, Rod, and you're going to Vegas, go to that I can't remember, and go to the Forum Shops and get a cigar and a mojito. But again, like, it's fine. The last time I went, I was sitting in that cigar lounge, and I said to the guy that I was with, like, I've done this. I'm good. I'm over the whole Vegas thing. Now, again, if anybody wants to organize a trip and invite me on it, I'm there. But I don't have a burning desire to go myself. But I do wish you were going. I think I'm going to have a conversation with Rod and go, hey, man, you got to take my guy Darren.
Yeah, I agree. And I'd be okay if you wanted to campaign on my behalf. I want to pull the audience and you, too, about, because Rod's traveling currently. He's on a plane. He won't see this till after.
Yeah.
But what are the spots that he should stop? So you mentioned the Forum Shops and the cigar lounge. Now, I don't think Rod's a big cigar guy, but, the Forum Shops are great. I love Caesars. I stayed there a couple of times. For me, because we don't have it up in Canada, I always love the walk down towards New York, and where the hockey rink is. And Shake Shack's a stop for me because that's my spot. In-N-Out's good, but Shake Shack's my spot there. So I always walk down there. Ramsey's Burger Place in Planet Hollywood's pretty good. There's a few spots on the Strip.
Yeah, so there's and again, it's been years, so how much it's turned over, I don't know. It was 2017 was the last time I went. I went once on a trip with my wife, my first wife. We went to a French steakhouse it looked right across at the Bellagio fountains. Mon Ami Gabi, I think was, or whatever, but it was French steakhouse as part of Paris. That was awesome. That's a really cool place. I'll tell you what's overrated. Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Hoover Dam. Yes.
Okay.
On any trip to Vegas, someone's going to be like, "Hey, let's go to Hoover Dam." Nah.
Overrated.
Overrated. In my opinion, at least, overrated. You also have to go to Old Vegas and check out Fremont Street, and it doesn't get the run that the Strip does, but you got to go. You got to go check that out. But yeah, my favorite place in Vegas, and it may be rebranded, the Arturo Fuente cigar shop. In the Forum Shops, you could smoke in there. They make the world's greatest mojito, and that's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome.
I'll add that to the list. Now, one place Rod's going, I don't think you're going to like all that much. Or wouldn't be a fan of. He's going to Radio Row. And I saw you tweeting about it a little bit. You weren't on Radio Row when we were hooked up in L.A., and neither were we. We were in the hotel. Where were you?
You had a good setup.
I can't remember where you were broadcasting from that week.
So I broadcast from Santa Monica. I broadcast from there was this setup on, is it 3rd Street or 9th Street? I can't remember. I think it was the 3rd Street Promenade, Santa Monica. And we had a setup next to an ice chest right outside in Santa Monica. And the cool thing is we were among the people. So the thing about Radio Row is, you're not really among the people. I wanted to be outside and among the people. So I was. Yeah. Now, we didn't have access to some of the guests you get at Radio Row. I have broadcast from Radio Row before. Indianapolis is only about maybe an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes from where I'm sitting right now. So when the Super Bowl was there, we had a spot at Radio Row, and that was fun. And then we got an invitation to broadcast from Radio Row for the Super Bowl that was played in New Jersey. Radio Row was in a hotel in New York, and there are unique experiences. I'm not sure that the radio itself is great when I listen to a lot of those shows, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
They bring in a guest that's not that important to your audience, and they're going to come on and hawk a product at the end of it. And so for us, we had a hard time with it. First of all, the first time I went, I didn't know really how it worked, but I really only wanted guests that appealed to my audience, and that was pretty limited. So if they would bring by, I remember they're like, hey, we have former Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Mark Malone on behalf of like some insurance company. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. I think we're okay. Don't need to talk to Mark Malone. And they're like, oh, we have Walter Payton's son, Jared. And it's nice guy, but I don't know. When you're now, if you're like with a big outlet, if you're with the Rod Pedersen show, if you're with, one of the larger national shows. You get the A-listers. We sort of got the in New York, Kevin Costner was doing radio hits, but he was on in New York and he was on in Boston and he was on all the national shows. And my producer went up to his publicist and was like, can we get Kevin Costner? And I think we ended up getting the key grip to the movie Draft Day on with us. So it is sort of it's a bit of a sad place, a bunch of radio shows that are just desperate for guests and a lot of guests who are just desperate for airtime so they can hawk their product. And so I've sort of labeled it the saddest place on earth. I did go to Radio Row in Los Angeles to record 2 interviews that I wanted to do for my show from next to an ice chest in Santa Monica. But again, if you're gonna go and your team is in it, now, the Bengals were in it 2 years ago. If you're gonna go and your local team is in it, I think you want to be out where fans are. If you're gonna go just to go and do a show, okay. But again, are you out there because you're going to create really good radio shows, or are you out there because it's a free trip to wherever the Super Bowl is? And I get the sense for a lot of radio shows, it's not so much about creating really, really good radio shows. And God knows I'm an expert on that.
Well, you're going to get guests, you're going to get names on your show, but your show is probably going to feel pretty random because these aren't guests you're getting on throughout the year. So it's a little different. I'm a big fan of like what Dan Patrick does and what we kind of tried to do in LA, where we went out, had our own little setup. We knew people were going to be in the city, people we knew that we didn't normally get, but still had an association to the show, and they would come to us, and we could have an actual conversation and actually build the relationship and spend some time together, not a 5-minute rotating in and out with a bunch of buzz and essentially a trade show going on in the background.
Yeah, the second time that we did it, we kind of had an idea how it was going to work, and like our operations a little Spartan, so it was me and just one other person. Neither of us were Radio Row veterans, so the first time we did it from Indianapolis, we had no idea really how it worked. The second go around, we at least knew. Like Marvin Jones had played for the Bengals. I think he had just wrapped up his rookie season. We knew he was out there. We got time with him. Connor Barwin, longtime NFL player, played at the University of Cincinnati. So we knew we were going to get him. We had reached out to Anthony Munoz, the Bengals legend. We knew he was going to be out there. So we at least had these. We knew going in, here are some people we are going to get. And also us being an ESPN affiliate that year, ESPN provided some people, which was pretty cool. So I thought that year we did a good show. The Indianapolis year, I will say this, it was the Patriots and Giants the second time they played. And where we were situated was right between a Boston radio station and a New York radio station. So they were getting all the A-list guests. And my producer at the time somehow cherry-picked Kate Upton.
How about that?
And so I sat at a table with Kate Upton, but we were in the
middle
middle
you got a
of
photo.
running. No, well, I do. I have no idea where it is. We were in the middle of running an interview that we had already recorded, and the board operator back in Cincinnati was not in the studio. So they're like, you have 5 minutes with Kate Upton. They couldn't find the producer. We never recorded the interview, so it was just me and Kate Upton, right? Kate Upton sitting there at a table awkwardly just staring at each other and me not having any idea what to say. So that's maybe my fondest but also worst Radio Row memory all rolled into one.
That was your first experience speed dating. Wasn't on radio. You just had a 5-minute in and out. And you blew it.
In and out. Me and Kate Upton. I literally said nothing to her. Like I just, okay, is Randy back at the studio ready to hit record so I could talk to Kate? And then her manager very politely kind of whisked her away. And that was my experience with Kate Upton.
Before we let you go, I guess we could talk about the game just for a minute. Who do you like?
Football game.
49ers +2. And are you taking any prop bets throughout the week?
The prop bet that I love most is for this game to go overtime because it's likely to be close. And overtime is like plus 1,600 depending on which book you use. So I love that prop. There's a couple of obvious touchdown scores, but I think it's fun to go McCaffrey 2 touchdowns or more. I think it's fun to go Kelsey 2 touchdowns or more because there's a lot of value with guys that always find the end zone. But I like Kansas City to cover the number. I like them to win the game. I feel like as good as San Francisco is, there's 2 things I can't get past. One is Bad Brock put the 49ers down 17 points against Detroit. Bad Brock is worse than bad Pat. So now Brock was great in the second half against Detroit, but there's a little more of a variable there that I can't wrap my brain around as opposed to what I'm going to get from Patrick Mahomes, who has played poorly at times in Super Bowls. The other one is I feel like San Francisco's defense is trending in the wrong direction. And if you look at it from a metric standpoint over the second half of the season, as good as they are getting to the ball, they were far better in the first half of the season than they were in the second half of the season. They haven't been great in the playoffs. They're here in large part because Detroit couldn't execute on the offensive end. And for a large stretch in that game, they were absolutely working San Francisco. Kansas City's offense played unevenly all season long, but in the playoffs, they've been much, much better. And their defense is very, very good. I like KC, but I think we're going to get a great game. And if we do, and it's really great, we go to overtime. My favorite prop bet hits.
I love it. Mo, enjoy the week, enjoy Super Bowl, and good to catch up.
So when he's in Vegas doing the show, you're just sitting there hanging out? Is he going to bring you back some swag like that thing you're wearing right now?
Yeah, well, I mean, I picked this up myself, but I'm hoping there's a little swag going to get dropped in the mail. Would be nice. At least a souvenir, maybe a foam finger, something.
What I would say to Rod is Rod knows who Wally Pipp is, right? Like, why can't it be the Darren Dupont show? Like, this is fine, right? Hell, you've given me more time to talk than Rod does.
I love it. Take care, Mo.
All right, man. I'll see you. Thanks for having me.
Mo Egger, ESPN Cincinnati. Always a treat. Got a break. And Jim Lang on the way. We're going to talk some hockey, probably some more NFL, Super Bowl, and a whole lot more. Get your suggestions in on where Rod needs to hit in Vegas. We found out where the Golden Corral is. We'll look that up when we come back, too. It's the RP Show here on Game Plus. Rod's Travel Day, Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and we're on the podcast, Apple and Spotify.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss. But it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Telemiracle 50/50 is live, so get your tickets now. The 50/50 raffle started with a guaranteed jackpot of $50,000. It's pushing towards over $65,000, I believe. As it rolls, there you go, over $66,000. Winner takes half. Get your tickets now at telemiracle5050.com. Lots going on today. I want to fire up the text line for a minute. Bob writes in on the text line, says, Mike McEwen will be in the Saskatchewan Hall of Fame if he wins the Brier, even though he's a Winnipeg boy. Yes, but he's got 3 good Saskatchewan curlers with him. Great story. Mike McEwen winning the Saskatchewan Tankard, representing the province at the Brier, coming up March 1st to 10th in Regina. Get your tickets now. Curling Canada, the Brier, the Montana's Brier coming up. And this week, the Alberta, oh, look at that. Live update on the 50/50. Squirrel. $70,000 now as it rolls higher and higher. Okay, 50/50 curling, the Montana's Brier. Playdowns happening this week right now in Manitoba. 32-team gauntlet of a bracketed draw. That's wild. 32 teams in the Manitoba Playdown. Saskatchewan at 12, 2 pools. Alberta's is happening as well this week. So that is great. Bill Edwards writes in, says, AJ is a rider. Could be a game changer. Absolutely. Brad Cameron writes in, I can say good morning or good afternoon to Brad. I guess it's afternoon out there in Saskatchewan too. Hope you're doing well, Brad. He says, good morning, Darren. Enjoy your show immensely. Great job calling the Saskatchewan Scotties and Tankard. Enjoy those as well. So Brad in Saskatoon. Jeff writes in, says, nothing too sad about the Oilers. They were down and out, and now look where they are. That's Jeff and Weber after the Oilers lost last night. Looking to be a little bit optimistic. Brian writes in on the text line. Again, the text line 902-518-3033. The text line is for Sober Carpenter. Says, good morning, Dupes. He's glad the streak is over. Hope they lose 16 in a row now. LOL. Riders are very active. Mace must have finally woken O'Day up after 2 years of sleeping. I don't know that I want to be happy that the Oilers lost. But something about that Penguins team still being a place in history I like. So the early 90s, Pittsburgh Penguins at 17, they still stand as the winner. Phil writes in on this text line. Good day, good day. Thank God it's hump day with my Jets lost, but I did not expect both Oliveira and Schoen. So they're really excited in Winnipeg. That was Phil in Winnipeg. Herb writes in on the text line. Just a couple more we'll get to here. There's a lot. Unfortunately, we can't get to all the texts, but he says, okay, Moose, 2 comments from yesterday. How do NHL coaches coach millionaires? And Corey Mace has a big following. Hopefully it helps Rider Nation. So far, it has helped. And how do coaches coach millionaires? Well, the same way that, your boss manages you. I don't know that you're thinking about money when you're playing the game. I really don't. But we'll pose that to Jim Lang, who joins us on the video chat. Good afternoon, Jim. How are you?
Good, Moose. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Battling a little something, so bear with me. But Rod's traveling to the Super Bowl, and we're stuck here holding things down. But, it will suffice. We'll get through. It won't be so bad.
Now, the
question
texter asks, how do you
Yeah.
coach millionaires? Very carefully, because coaching in the NHL is different than it used to be. The coach is a coach. It's a strategy, X's and O's. You're a psychologist. You're trying to get maximum performance out of the players in the nicest way possible. And unfortunately, for players who are making big money in guaranteed contracts, especially that second and third contract, if they decide they've had it with the coach, they're just going to call up an agent and say, like, this guy's not doing it anymore. And I just, that self-motivation that you see from certain players, like a Sidney Crosby, Drew Doughty in LA is a good example. Coach, whatever the coach is, whatever the situation, they're going to motivate themselves. Some players just, you see it mid-season games. It's a business decision. They're only going to put so much effort and then decide to save it for the postseason. The old days of the Iron Mike Keenan squeezing blood from a stone every night from a player, those kind of coaches don't really exist in the NHL anymore. If you look at the coaching tree around there, and even older coaches like a Paul Maurice have had to adapt how they treat players and coach them, because, yeah, you are dealing with not just millionaires, but multi-millionaires making guaranteed money, $5, $7, $10+ million a year.
I know. It is something we haven't seen. And honestly, it's not just in sports, it's in the workplace. Employees, players have more power than they ever have had more of a voice than they ever have, especially with social media. It is very delicate, when you look at how you manage people and how you coach people, which makes, what Andy Reid's doing so much more impressive, what the good coaches, the way they're able to grow and adapt.
I think the Andy Reid example is phenomenal. And don't forget, Andy Reid was part of the coaching staff for Mike Holmgren and the Green Bay Packers in the 90s when they won their Super Bowl. And then you look at him now from his years in Philadelphia and now in Kansas City, how he is involved with the league and how he expects a certain level of excellence from the Chiefs. But if you look at the way he interacts with the team, deals with the players, jokes with the players, his little funny comments on first night about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce and that, like, he gets it. And the players, you hear them, it's sincere, it's genuine how they feel about Andy Reid as a coach and as a person. So, yeah, he's old and crusty and jokes about his cheeseburgers and his Hawaiian shirts, but he knows football. And there's no question that when it comes to game planning and calling a game, I don't think Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Isaiah Pacheco and anyone in that Chiefs offense worry about Andy Reid. He knows what he's doing.
Clearly, and he's found a way to communicate with his players. The coach, that I question and, want your opinion on is, what do you see in that situation from a Sheldon Keefe? The Leafs in action tonight against the Dallas Stars, coming off a loss to the New York Islanders, trying to piece something together now and create something going into trade deadline and into the playoffs.
I think that's the $64,000 question in Toronto Moose is, the Leafs are 11-10-2 on home ice this year. I mean, that's barely passable. You were just talking about the Oilers winning streak, but the Leafs would take an 8-game winning streak in a heartbeat. They need to string some wins together just to quiet down the masses. And the frustrating inconsistency to the Leafs is driving Leafs Nation, media, and fans to distraction, because there's some nights you're like, look at this team. They're going to go deep in the playoffs. And there's other nights you're like the loss to the Islanders where Sheldon Keefe was saying peewee defense. And he made a good point when a guy hops out of the penalty box and he's wide open on a breakaway. That shouldn't happen in the NHL at this point of the season. And that's what he said. And he's right. But that's part of the problem with being a coach. You're selling your vision. You're a salesman. Do they believe in you? I had a player once say, for the coach he had was a veteran coach, they always knew that the voice behind them, their coach, always was going to say the right thing and make the right moves. No one doubted it. Nobody. And so I think that's part of it for Sheldon Keefe is if he can put the Leafs on a winning streak and convince people that he's the guy, it'll quiet things down. But right now, the voices in Leafs Nation for who he is and what he's doing and how inconsistent such a talented and high-priced team is, it's deafening in the Toronto area. It is deafening. And I mean, that's why they're expecting some moves at the deadline, that maybe Treliving's going to make a deal, make a move, and that'll shake things up for the Leafs. And then Sheldon Keefe will have the team he needs. But There's something, like there's some nights you sit and watch the Leafs going, you know what? They're going to go to the conference final. There's other nights they're not going to get out of the first round.
I know. I see that all the time. And it's delicate because there's half the argument is, okay, as a coach, okay, you're right. You know what needs to be done. You point out the Pee Wee defense. He's right. But there's a difference between being right and having influence to be able to lead, right? Where everything you say, even if you're wrong, the players will buy in. And it doesn't feel like we have a lot of buy-in at the moment.
No, and I look at what Rick Tocchet's done in Vancouver. Sure, he has Thatcher Demko and Quinn Hughes that helps, but I mean, Vancouver under Rick Tocchet, they've been phenomenal this year. And everyone talks about what Canadian team is going to go furthest in the playoffs. I mean, I have a hard time not seeing Vancouver, of all the Canadian teams, going the deepest in the postseason. I love what Tocchet has done with the Canucks. They're a good team, and that's a prime example of the impact a coach can make in the right way on a team right now. I mean, everyone's talking about the Oilers. Well, the Canucks are 8-0-2 in their last 10 games. And they, like, every time you think, well, the Canucks are going to hit a skid, they keep finding ways to win it. So, you know, you get the right coach with the right team, something special can happen. We're definitely seeing it in Vancouver with Tocchet. But for whatever reason, the marriage between the Leafs players and Sheldon Keefe is rocky at best right now.
Yeah, it's something worth watching for sure. Big step tonight. They play the Dallas Stars to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I know, Rod's going to land in Vegas. Are you a Vegas guy?
You know what? Honestly, I was there in the late 1970s. My dad was in the Air Force, and we were moving, and we stopped there briefly. I've never really been to Vegas as we know it now. I think it's in the future. So I have nothing to say about Vegas. I wouldn't know the place to go to Vegas if I fell over because I've never barely been.
You got to come to Vegas with us, I guess. We got to go to Vegas.
Yeah, someday, yeah.
Of course. But it's one of those things, right? If you don't go and then it's like, yeah, I'd like to go, and then you never really have a reason. There's always, another place you can go. I get it. But with this game, Patrick Mahomes, 28 years old, his fourth Super Bowl already. They're making the comparisons to Tom Brady. Are you making those comparisons already?
They're very different athletes and very different quarterbacks. I understand because of the frequency which Mahomes has gone to the Super Bowl, but they're different players. I think it's more of to me, it's the Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, the team itself and what they've done the last few years is phenomenal. And, for Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers, it's a monumental challenge. Your previous guest and he was right that Brock Purdy wasn't great. Those two playoff wins. He did what he needed to do late in each game to turn things around for the 49ers offense to get them into the Super Bowl. Don't forget, Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator for the Falcons when they blew that 28-3 lead to the New England Patriots. That's right. That's hanging over his head. He was, Kyle Shanahan has a lot of pressure, a lot to prove, and he's going up against the master in Andy Reid. And ultimately, it comes down to, if you look how even these teams are in a lot of positions, who's going to have the better quarterback at the end of the game to make the play you need to win the game? And I love a lot of what the 49ers do, their defense, their running game, McCaffrey, this and that, but I can't bet against Patrick Mahomes. And he's proven time and time again that he doesn't need a lot of time on the clock. He doesn't need a lot of space to make things happen. How many times are we going to see him throw a 10, 12, 15-yard pass to Travis Kelce when he needs it, when everyone in the stadium knows that's where he's going, but they still somehow call the right play, Kelce's open, Mahomes makes the play, and they keep moving the sticks so they score a touchdown. And that's what I think is frustrating for opposition when they go against the Chiefs, that you think you have them defended, you think you have them stopped, and Mahomes finds a way to gut you, to keep beating you. And I just can't vote against Mahomes in this kind of situation because his track record has shown that, ultimately, if he's got the ball in his hand, he's going to make something happen, make a play, and he's going to help the Chiefs win the game.
I feel like that's where we're at now. Like, I'm trying to, gather as much information as I can before I decide who I'm going to bet with. And, coming in, I really thought, okay, San Francisco and Baltimore are the two best teams in the National Football League. Then there's a little bit of a gap. And then you get to Buffalo and Kansas City and some of these other teams, Detroit. But the way I look at what's happened, I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs have played 12 good quarters of playoff football. And for the 49ers, they've trailed in both their games. They've struggled in the first half of both their games. They've played 4 quarters out of 8. And yes, they've come from behind and they've played great in the second half. But something, even though at the line just at 2, I don't know what I can bet against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid.
And Moose, here's the thing that concerns me if I'm a 49ers fan. They have given up a lot of yards on the ground in those 2 playoff games. Like the teams have run on them. And Andy Reid can see a film, and he can also get Isaiah Pacheco. And he's got a quarterback that can run as well. So it's going to be very interesting for Bosa and Fred Warner and that defense, who historically has been really good, but also they're giving up a lot of yards on the ground, what they're going to do in the run game. Steve Spagnuolo is the X factor. He was the defensive coordinator for the Giants when they pulled off the upset of Tom Brady and the Patriots at Super Bowl 42. He's been there, done that. He has turned this Chiefs defense around in the last few weeks of the season into the postseason. And this is going to be something I think that Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers offense have to contend with, is what are they going to do against a sort of a revamped Chiefs defense with a wizard as a coordinator in Steve Spagnuolo? I mean, this is where the chess game and the matchups, and at the end you go down like, what's the difference maker? It's Patrick Mahomes. And this is nothing against Brock Purdy. He had a great year. He's a good quarterback, Mr. Irrelevant or not. He deserves to be there. But if I got to pick between Mahomes and Brock Purdy, I'm going Mahomes every day.
Yeah, I think you have to. Jim, we're out of time, but looking forward to the Super Bowl, and I think you got me on the Chiefs side. You've confirmed it. Enjoy the game on Sunday.
Thanks, my friend. Take care.
Jim Lang with us here on the program. Okay, we're going to slow things down after the break and get to some more of your messages and digest what we've had here over the last 90 minutes. RP Show continues. We're on YouTube Live, wherever you get your podcasts, but we're across the country every day on the Game Plus television network.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
This is it. It all comes down to this rock. The hours in the gym, the weeks away from my family. This is what I've been training for. And all those voices trying to tear me down, I'm here to silence them. We've given everything we have. for a chance to get everything we want.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
There's a good look at Florida. I don't see Rod in those photos, those live shots, because he's not there anymore. He might be in an airplane, nowhere near there. I don't even think he'd be flying over the top because he's on his way to Vegas. Should be landed, actually. I have expected Rod to jump in here in this hour too, from the Strip or from the hotel or somewhere in Vegas. I don't think we're going to get him, but I half expected a late cameo appearance from Rod on the show. But anyways, here we are. We're going to slow things down, just you and me, for the next 15 minutes or 16 minutes. That 50-50 jackpot for Telemiracle's up over $70,000. So Telemiracle5050.com. Get your tickets now. Ron Thompson writes in on the text line, 902-518-3033. Says, hey, Moose, how about those young-looking Flames last night? The future looks bright. How about those Flames? They were scrappy. They played as a team. And as Nazem Kadri said last night, he said, a pack of hyenas can take down a lion. They beat the Boston Bruins 4-1. Andrei Kuzmenko scored in his Flames debut pretty early in. Was it 2 goals and an assist for Jonathan Huberdeau? He looked really, really good. That Flames team can make some noise. And maybe that's going to be their mantra. Maybe the Flames are going to be a pack of hyenas. Let's get the T-shirts made up. A pack of hyenas. The Calgary Flames last night. Natasha writes in on the text line, says, Moose, love seeing you fill in. Pretty sure I predicted you being needed last week. I don't really know what that's about, but I appreciate you, Natasha, checking in and on the support. Al writes in on YouTube, hey, Darren, are you covering live with the show from the Briar in Regina? Yes, likely. The show will be in Regina at the Briar. Will I be there? Will Rod be there? We're working out the details, but I would love to be in Regina for the Briar. Curling was so much fun, although it would be really tough to be in the facility and not want to be calling the games. But, of course, that's Vic's job, and he's the best. He's the best. You can't be serious. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writing in on the YouTube line, says, who is Kate Upton?
Oh, no.
He's not serious, right?
Hot
Kate
take.
Upton? Looked her up. SI swimsuit model. Yeah, that's the one, Mo really dropped the ball on that one. Had an opportunity with Kate Upton. But the words never came out. I don't know that I'd be much better in that situation, to be honest. But away we go. Some people writing in, Jeff, again, I think Kansas City wins, and this is not an exciting game. No, I think it's going to be a really exciting game. I really do. There are so many playmakers, especially the 49ers have some playmakers. They're a good football team. I think this is going to be a fun Super Bowl. I really do. And it's going to be pretty tough to predict, but I just don't think you can bet against the Chiefs. I just don't think that's something we can do. Randy from the Pegs says 49ers 27, Chiefs 17. That is crazy. And Jeff doubles down. He's serious. He had no idea who Kate Upton was. Okay, that's fine. No judgment here. I don't know every Sports Illustrated swimsuit model. I don't get the edition every year, but I did know who Kate Upton was. Maybe because, the sports context and all the rest. Let's take care of a little bit more housekeeping here. The poll question today, the poll question is for Key Auto Group. Key Auto Group, driven by safety, experience, peace of mind. With their competitive multi-point inspection, visit keyautogroup.ca for automotive excellence. The poll question today, who is the early winner of the CFL's negotiation window? Your options, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, the Edmonton Elks, the Hamilton Tiger Cats, or other. On the live chat on YouTube, the Elks with 0? Am I reading that right? Not a single vote? Okay. The Elks, the latest, locking up Javon Leake, the all-star from the Argos, apparently signing with Edmonton. The Saskatchewan Roughriders with A.J. Ouellette, Jameer Thurman, Jamarcus Hardrick, and others coming into Saskatchewan. They lead right now with 54% of the vote. Hamilton Tiger Cats are signing Jamal Peters of the Argos. They're signing Brandon Barlow. But other has 33%, so that's second place on the vote right now. You still have time to vote, rodpeterson.com, or you can vote on Twitter or here on YouTube. That is the poll question today. Wondering about that. If you missed the podcast in hour one, I'd really recommend going back and listening to the conversation with Justin Dunk. We really got through all the CFL free agency and this story that's come out from John Tavares and the National Post. John Tavares fighting Canada Revenue Agency over an $8 million tax bill. It all stems back to when he signed with the Maple Leafs back in 2018, his $15.3 million signing bonus. And there's discrepancy as to what tax rate the bonus should be paid out at. It should be taxed at. Typically, when he's taxed, it's the CRA believes he should be taxed on that tax rate at 38%. But Tavares thinks it should be taxed, his camp, at 15%. There's a lower tax rate in the tax code for what they call inducements. It's bonuses that are paid to athletes, actors, artists, or musicians, and it's the bonus that's taxed at a lower rate. Well, I believe Tavares' salary is something like $900,000 or $1 million his base salary, and it was largely a bonus. This has a big spill-off effect over future players signing in Canada, and as we talked to Justin Dunk, potentially in the Canadian Football League, if you start to see a future battle for signing players between the CFL and the new UFL, the combo between the USFL and the XFL. So that's a story we're following as well today. Yeah, we're going to take one more time out here in just a moment. Get to some more of your questions on the YouTube chat. If you have any more texts, one more chance to get them in, 902-518-3033. And load up the text line with recommendations on where Rod needs to go while in Vegas. Any restaurants, shops, your favorite casinos. Where do you think Rod needs to go in Vegas? Load it up in the chat, and we'll pass them along to RP in the final segment. The RP Show continues. YouTube Live, Game Plus TV Network, and as always on Apple and Spotify.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
4 minutes left in our show today. Appreciate you hanging with me. Looks like we're going to survive. The finish line's right there, but we're not going to celebrate too early. I need something. Give me a breaking news sound effect. Maybe it's the quick six show topic, something. Rod Pedersen is climbing the Sphere in Vegas. Or at least that's been reported by our Twitter account. I need a little more context here. If you can pull up the photo, heck, I don't know if we're allowed to, but if you can pull up that live feed, that would be even better. But find me something in these 4 minutes. Apparently, somebody in Vegas is climbing the Sphere. I didn't know this was possible. I haven't been to Vegas in a number of years now. Probably the same time I was going to say that Mo has, 2017-ish. I don't know what's going on there. Someone's climbing it and just hanging out, and we haven't heard from Rod. So if A plus B equals C, but Rod should be in Vegas by now. So I'll let you guys look and see what we can find on that. That's happening right now in Vegas, and there's a live looking at it somewhere online. We got a photo. Okay. Let's see the photo. So you see the little white speck? You can see some legs and the arms there, right? Is that it? Or is it the white speck? Is that a poster above it that looks like a person? Big sign. So it's not the sign. Guy looks like he's about to slip and fall. It's the white speck is a person on the Sphere. This looks like satellite images of Mars, is what it looks like I'm looking at. It's pretty grainy, but that's also a giant screen, is the Sphere in Vegas. I would put the Sphere in Vegas as somewhere that Rod needs to check out. We're checking in on that on the chat right now. So let me just, Rod should check out. There's a couple of locations in here, but I'm just taking a peek. Rod, the Sphere climber, and somebody says it's Bigfoot. Somebody else says it's fake. But either way, Rod's checking that out. I would say if I'm going to Vegas, Shake Shack is probably the first place I would go, down by New York, and by the hockey rink where the Golden Knights play. Absolutely. Joe Booney checking in on the text line. Good afternoon. Kansas City winning this game, no doubt about it. You can't hate Taylor Swift. You just can't. Patrick Mahomes will prove once again he is the greatest quarterback of all time in today's era. A big statement. I think Patrick Mahomes needs the second career. Tom Brady had 2 Hall of Fame careers, right? One in the early part of his career, one later. And I think I've done the homework for Rod, so we can pass it along. Golden Corral. Rod's doesn't have a vehicle. He said he's going to walk everywhere. So if he's going to Golden Corral, it's a 3-hour walk or a 23-minute Uber ride. Golden Corral. We have found the Golden Corral, okay? And we've loaded him in there. But we've reached the last minute of play in today's show. Last minute of play. We'll look at what's going on tonight in the National Hockey League, and we're going to quickly, in 20 seconds, play breakaway bets because there's only 4 games tonight. Dallas Stars, Toronto Maple Leafs, 7 o'clock tonight in Toronto. I'll take the Maple Leafs. Lightning at Rangers. I will take the New York Rangers. Jonathan Quick going to start. And the Chicago Blackhawks at home to the Minnesota Wild tonight in the National Hockey League. I will take the Minnesota Wild. So we got rid of that. Big thanks to Justin Dunk and Joey Alfieri joining us in hour 1 of the show, hour 1 of the podcast. And in this hour 2, Mo Egger from ESPN Cincinnati and Jim Lang in the GTA. Big thanks for everybody for joining us. We're live from the Super Bowl on Thursday. Catch us. Rod will be there. Until then, thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow from Vegas.
Who has more fun than us?
How about that?